Harper stopped saying nursing home and started saying spa, which is how you know a cage has better lighting than usual. Golden Pines isn't a facility, Lila, she cooed, palms up, voice warm enough to poach an egg. It's a community. Saltwater pool, chef's tastings, a lecture series on Tuesdays. They even have a book club with a waitlist. You'd love it. It's elevated. I've been a librarian my whole life. I know synonyms for cage, and I know marketing when it's wearing pearls. For 3 weeks, she drip-fed the pitch, an email with glossy photos at 6 a.m. Just look, no pressure. A casual detour past the entrance after brunch to admire landscaping. A brochure left on my counter, as if brochures sprouted there. She'd dog-eared a corner unit close to amenities. Matt, my good-hearted son with a soft spine, trailed behind carrying links and optimism. When I asked how his credit cards were doing, he said, "Fine," with the tone men use when the barn's already on fire. My 70th fell on a Sunday. They came with cake and a family gift, their family doctor. Dr. Cole wore a smile that didn't reach his eyes and a pen with Golden Pines logo. "Just a quick wellness check," Harper chirped, guiding him to my table like she was seating a VIP, "so we know how to support you, Mom." While he leafed through questions like a pop quiz for the elderly, my doorbell cam pinged. Nora from across the hall, ICU nurse, master of triage, stood with a borrowed bunt pan. I opened the door and she slid the pan into my hands with a folded napkin tucked under it. On the napkin, block letters in nurse handwriting. "Don't sign. Emergency guardianship hearing. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Beneath it, smaller, Golden Cole administered a light memory screen with the smirk of a man who'd never alphabetized a library after a flood. I let a few answers drift, watched him make notes with that Golden Pines pen. The logo flashed every time his hand moved. After they left, Harper air-kissing near my cheek, Matt hugging like a boy who wanted to whisper something and didn't, I locked the door, set the napkin on the table, and read it again. Don't sign. I've signed more authorizations than most people have had hot dinners. Rule 1. Anything rushed is a trick. I called Jonah, my late husband's oldest friend and the only lawyer I've ever liked. He still answers his own phone. "They're moving on me," I said. "Golden Pines, a family doctor, and a hearing I wasn't invited to." "Happy birthday," he said. "Do not sign. No mobile notaries. Forward anything from the court. I'll flag the clerk, the hospital, and admissions. Also call your bank, senior alerts, freeze any new POA. And Lila? Yes? Smile. Yes? Smile, he said. People make their worst mistakes when you smile. I made tea, took out my recipe book, and wrote under potato salad, where our family keeps its real instructions. No signatures. Daylight only. Verify every noun. At 11:48 p.m., an email slid in. Subject line, beige as oatmeal. Ex parte emergency petition. Temporary guardianship hearing, 2 p.m. From the clerk. CC, Dr. Cole, Golden Pines Admissions, Harper. I smiled in the quiet kitchen, like Jonah told me to, and texted Harper one line. We'll test my memory tomorrow, in front of a judge. They came before breakfast carrying coffee and a bag that didn't hold muffins. Harper set the tote on my table, unzipped, and spread papers the way decorators fan fabric swatches. He's already looped in their admissions nurse. My doorbell camera chimed in the other room, a delayed echo of yesterday's warning. I cast it to the TV. Yesterday's porch footage cued on my phone by habit. There they were in a split screen. Today's bright kitchen and yesterday's shadowy stoop. Harper and Dr. Cole on the porch, speaking in the kind of low tone people think ring cams won't catch. Remember to emphasize the disorientation, Harper's voice said from the tiny speaker. She called the stove the washing machine last week. Use that. And say safety. Judges love safety. Ex parte petitions filed. Dr. Cole answered. I'll do a light screen today so we have something in the file. On my stove, a small pot of oatmeal made a polite bubble and didn't burn. The house and I shared a private smile. I want to be clear, I said, closing my laptop as if I'd just finished a crossword. Nothing gets signed today. Not a proxy, not a guardianship, not a listing. You can leave these here. I'll read them in daylight with my lawyer. Harper switched scripts the way TV lawyers do when the jury isn't nodding. Lila, we're trying to take weight off your shoulders. Don't make this adversarial. The adversary is the clock, I said. Any rush that can't make sense tomorrow isn't sense today. Her jaw flickered, just once. Fine, she said lightly. We'll bring a mobile notary at noon. That way it's official and painless. You don't have to go anywhere. Wonderful, I said, cheerful as a Sunday usher. Invite whomever you wish. She brightened, and I'll invite mine. Her smile wobbled. Yours? State commissioned, 10 years, knows duress when she sees it, I said, picking up my phone. And I'll be recording because my hearing, I tapped my ear, isn't what it used to be. I opened the recipe book where my real instructions live and added a line under potato salad, noon, notary trap, recordings rolling, smile. At 10:17, an admissions coordinator from Golden Pines called to confirm your preferred fragrances. I let her speak 4 sentences before I said, We'll discuss everything at 2 in court, and hung up to the sound of her smile deflating. At 11:55, a sedan idled at the curb, 2 silhouettes inside. At 11:57, another car slid in behind it, my notary's hatchback. I straightened the stack of blank forms, set 2 pens equidistant, and poured water into 3 glasses like hospitality were a sport. At exactly noon, the doorbell chimed. I clicked the recorder, smoothed my sweater, and opened the door with the kind of smile Jonah collects like stamps. Come in, I said. Let's do paper correctly. Before anyone knocked at noon, I spent 2 hours doing what librarians do when a plot thickens. I built a record. First, pills. Harper's favorite exhibit was Lila forgets her meds, a rumor so tidy it folded itself. I logged into my pharmacy portal, decades of refills lined up like obedient soldiers, and pulled the last 6 months. There it was, stamped and highlighted. Auto refill enabled by authorized caregiver Harper Dawson, toggled on the same week she started calling Golden Pines a spa. Auto refill makes bottles arrive whether you swallow or not. Let a box sit 2 weeks and snap a photo, and voila, proof of neglect. I printed the audit trail, 3 copies, and wrote in the margin with the librarian's satisfaction, refills shipped equal doses missed. Second, memory, the thing they wanted to sell back to me at a markup. I set my phone on a tripod, tapped record, and did a 1-take mundane Olympics. I paid the electric bill online, reading the account number aloud twice. I logged into banking without a pause and read the last 4 on my debit card into the mic. I sorted my weekly pill organizer, saying each name and dosage like a familiar. A manager voice took over, polite, trained, a little too eager. We have several programs, Miss Mercer. If a family member refers you, there's a referral credit applied at admission. It's essentially a finder's fee. Makes transition smoother. A family member like a daughter-in-law? I asked, pen tapping. Exactly. We work with families all the time. In fact, Dr. Cole's office often helps streamline information so there's no friction. Do you issue that referral credit before or after a court hearing? I asked, sweet as tea. Silence discovered its manners. Could you email my daughter-in-law confirmation? I added, then spelled Harper's address twice. She likes paper. We can send a welcome note, the manager said, regaining tone. What's the best time for the notary? After 2, I said, when court is done. I ended the call and texted Jonah the recording. He replied with 3 words I like on lawyers. Preservation letters sent. He'd overnighted requests to Dr. Cole for any honoraria, consulting, or placement fees tied to Golden Pines, demanded the facility preserve all admission communications referencing me, and hit the hospital with the red flag, no phone consents, eyes or hold. Back to the pharmacy. I snapped photos of my pill box, Monday blue, Tuesday green, Wednesday yellow, then scrolled to Harper's favorite accusing picture from last month. 3 compartments, forgotten. Taken the week my neighbor's granddaughter had a school play on Wednesday, and I delayed sorting to Thursday. Context, I wrote across the printout, not deficiency. I added one more piece because I'm thorough. A list of my subscriptions and passwords printed in 14-point font, a master index only a competent person compiles. Librarians don't fear indexes. We are indexes. At 10:43, an email slid into my inbox with the cheery subject line, "Welcome to Golden Pines." I opened it. Confetti GIF. The human version of a level, parked behind a sedan with tinted optimism. Jonah slid out of her passenger seat with a folder and the expression of a man who brought the right verbs. Inside, I set 3 glasses of water on the table, equal distance, because symmetry keeps rooms honest. 2 recorders glowed red. The ring cam eyed the entryway like a quiet cat. At exactly noon, the bell chimed. Harper swept in with the mobile notary in the gold vest and Dr. Cole in this clinic jacket, pen already flashing the Golden Pines logo. "We'll make this painless," Harper sang. "Just signature so Mom doesn't have to deal." Ms. Vega nodded to the mobile notary. "Colleague," she said. The woman smiled the way people do when they haven't yet realized they're in a test. Harper unzipped her tote and fanned papers across my table. Medical proxy, temporary guardianship, listing authorization, each with the yellow flag already stuck where she wanted my hand to land. "Initial here, sign there," she chirped, sliding the pen. "We pre-filled to save you time." Jonah set his folder down and folded his hands. He didn't say he was a lawyer. He didn't have to. "Before we begin," Ms. Vega said, pleasant as a librarian, "I need to speak with the signer alone about willingness and understanding. Standard." Harper blinked. "We're family." "Which is why we'll be brief," Ms. Vega said, and gestured toward the hallway. The mobile notary looked at Harper. Harper looked at Dr. Cole. Dr. Cole looked at his pen. They stepped into the living room, close enough for my recorder to keep its promises. Ms. Vega turned to me. "Do you know what these documents do?" Medical proxy gives someone voice with doctors. Temporary guardianship gives someone voice with judges. Listing authorization gives someone voice over my walls. "And do you want to sign them today?" she asked. "No," I said. "Not today. Not under pressure. Not with pre-printed flip. The job is to witness a willing signature by a competent adult, free of duress." Harper's smile sharpened. "Ms. Mercer, once we move you into Golden Pines, we'll list the condo and you won't have to worry about any of this. It's a fresh start." "Once we move you in," my recorder repeated in a tidy red waveform. Jonah slid a laminated card across the table. "Clerk's notice," he said mildly. "Emergency stay filed. Hearing set for 2 o'clock. No admissions, no moves, no signatures until after court. Everyone breathes better that way." Harper picked up the card like it had personally insulted her. "We're trying to help." "Help doesn't need a deadline," I said. Miss Vega capped her pen. "I will not notarize any of these today," she said, looking directly at the mobile notary as much as at us. "There is evident pressure, prior filings, and a dispute over capacity where capacity appears intact. Notarization under these conditions violates my commission." The mobile notary swallowed and set her stamp back in her bag as if it had gotten hot. There was a knock, 2 official raps that make a room stand up straighter. I opened the door to a deputy with papers and the relief of a person who gets to do something right.
"Ms. Mercer, emergency stay granted. Temporary restraining order regarding admissions and disposals."
He handed me a packet and nodded toward Dr. Cole without quite looking at him.
"There's a notice for you too, Doctor."
Harper's face tried 3 expressions and settled on insulted. "This is adversarial," she said. "We wanted painless." "Painless is for dentists," I said. "This is paper." Jonah gathered the unsigned stack, squared it, and slid it back across to Harper.
"See you at 2,
he said.
"Bring your best nouns."
Harper huffed. Dr. Cole adjusted his pen, as if it could write something kinder than what it had already done. The mobile notary bobbed. "Great." When Robert and I drew our papers 20 years ago, back when we thought bad luck wore a trench coat and introduced itself, we added a clause our lawyer called a springing power. It was our way of telling the future to mind its manners. Nothing in the trust springs unless 2 independent physicians, not on anyone's payroll, certify incapacity. Not 1, 2, independent. Names on letterhead that don't match the facility brochure. Jonah filed a notice invoking that clause, attaching a copy of the trust section in a font you have to earn, and couriered springing power letter, notice to all providers, to the clerk, to Golden Pines, to every hospital within 10 miles. He flagged the chart at our local ER with a red band in their system. No phone consents, no admissions based on family representative. Eyes or hold. Call Jonah Reeves, counsel of record, before a single form leaves a tray. When a system sees red, it pauses. Pausing is how widows win. Next, doctors. Jonah had lined up 2 geriatricians who don't drink coffee with Dr. Cole. At 12:40, I clicked into a telehealth with Dr. Yazdi, sharp eyes, kinder voice. We did the boring magic, orientation, serial 7s, recall, clock drawing. I drew a clock that looked like a clock. I named animals until he laughed at aardvark and asked me to stop. He signed a preliminary statement right there, no evidence of incapacity, on letterhead with hearty margins. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., Dr. Chu would see me in person and repeat the ritual with a pen that makes courts purr. While we stacked independents, we also called the sheriff's civil unit. The deputy who'd served my stay entered a keep the peace note on my address for the next 72 hours. Translation: if anyone tried to escort me to a spa, uniformed skepticism would arrive with a clipboard, not handcuffs. I removed Harper's email and phone from any place she'd volunteered as caregiver. Left Matt's on 1. My calendar reminder that he's still my son even when he's borrowed. Then I did the thing that makes fraud sweat. I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus and saved the confirmation codes in the back of my recipe book under potato salad, like a superstition that works. Golden Pines called back, brave voice pinned under a smile. "Ms. Mercer, we saw a hold note and wanted to reassure you we are simply here to help families in transition." "You'll want to keep that hold bright," I said. "There's an emergency stay, and council sent a preservation letter on your..." Referral program. Anything you delete will make a different judge upset later. Silence. Then professionalism found a chair. We understand, the manager said. We'll await guidance. Harper tried a soft invasion, 3 texts in a row like a lullaby. We're on your team. It's not adversarial. Please don't make this ugly. I replied with a screenshot of the stay and the smiling emoji that meant no in a language she couldn't admit she understood. At 1:19, Jonah called from a curb somewhere between Clerks and Couriers. "One more thing," he said, voice bright in a way that didn't smile. "I chased the money chain. Golden Pine's master lease is held by Atlas Senior Living Trust." Atlas, I repeated. The name dropped into my chest like a key into a tray it recognizes. "Do you still have Robert's old binder?" he asked. "The ugly green one with the metal corners." "Hall closet," I said, already moving. "Pull it," he said. "If I'm right, the bylaws will be hospitable to our situation." I set the phone down, climbed the step stool, and hauled the green binder onto the table. It smelled like dust and decisions. The spine read, Robert had called it the boring love letter, then filed it where I could always reach it and never wanted to. Tabs like a stoplight. Bylaws, certificates, notices. I flipped to bylaws and read until the word stopped being law and started being tools. There it was, calm as a librarian's shush. Section 8.4, Member Protective Action. Upon credible allegations of elder exploitation by any Atlas-managed property, any member holding more than 20% of Class B units may trigger an independent audit and suspend master lease disbursements to the implicated operator pending findings. I turned to certificates. Paper that knew me looked back. Lila Mercer, Class B units, 22%. Robert's initials in the margin the day we moved it from someday to safe. My phone buzzed. Jonah, drafting notice of member protective action now. You sign. We serve Atlas registered agent plus Golden Pines management before 2 o'clock. Timestamp matters. Another bubble followed. Also, money chain. He attached 2 screenshots. A vendor registry page with Harper & Company PR listed as Community Outreach Consultant, Golden Pines, and a newsletter blurb. Special thanks to Dr. Cole for his educational luncheon honoraria. The words wore smiles. The money wore no costume at all. Dot them, I texted back. Bylaws 8.4 in my hand. Certificate 2. He called. We'll belt and suspenders this, he said. We'll attach your certificate, the bylaw section, the porch coaching transcript, the notary audio, the mis-CC'd referral confirmed email. The notice will demand 1. Independent audit. 2. Immediate suspension of Golden Pines master lease disbursements. 3. Preservation of all communications, intake records, and referral payments referencing you. 4. No admissions predicated on family representative without spouse consent. We serve Atlas and Golden Pines before the hearing. Then hand the judge a receipt with a bow. Do you need a notary? I asked. The admissions manager's smile 3 shades tighter than yesterday. Board counsel acknowledged receipt. Jonah texted. Golden Pines CFO replied, we dispute your characterization, which is lawyer for we noticed, you noticed. Process server on standby for court service, just to make it theatrical. I printed my certificate and the bylaw and slid both into my 2 o'clock folder, behind the stay order and Ms. Vega's refusal to notarize under duress. I added Jonah's vendor registry screenshot with Harper & Co. PR circled in red and wrote in the margin, Outreach is Napaldi ownership. Then I clipped the newsletter blurb thanking Dr. Cole for honoraria and wrote, Finder's fees by any other name. Golden Pines called again, voice strained into politeness. Ms. Mercer, our general counsel receives something from Atlas. We, of course, take any concern seriously, but... Then we agree, I said. We'll let the audit do the adjectives. Silence, then a sentence that had been focus grouped and failed. We're simply here to help. Help has receipts, I said, and hung up. I opened my recipe book to potato salad and wrote the day in small, sure letters. Atlas binder out of the closet. Bylaw 8.4, Member Protective Action. Certificate, Lila, 22% Class B. Notice drafted, notarized, couriered. Atlas agent received, 110. Golden Pines received, 118. Vendor registry, Harper & Co. PR. Newsletter, Cole, honoraria. I underlined received twice, because paper that arrives on time is a door you can walk through. At 1:36, Jonah. Process servers in the hallway outside courtroom C. He'll serve Golden Pines in open court after we say bylaw 8.4. Bring your smile. I looked at the clock, picked a cardigan that doesn't apologize, and slipped my certificate into my bag like a passport. The house breathed. I matched it. Then I locked the door with the pleasant click. It's not like that. It's exactly like that for people who call a cage a spa, I said. How much do you owe? His mouth did the math his pride didn't want to. The card, 42. The loan, 20. We're behind on the car. Harper said the caregiver stipend would. There is no caregiver stipend for kidnapping, I said. No heat, just the temperature of a fact. There is a referral fee for delivering me like a package. That money doesn't fix your barn. It burns mine. He deflated in inches, the way a man does when the story he's been sleeping on asks to see daylight. I didn't know about the fee, he said softly. You knew you were drowning, I said. You let someone hand you a life ring with my name on it. Silence drew a chair. I poured coffee and didn't add pity. Here are your choices, I said, sliding a clean page and a pen in front of him, because men think better with nouns. 1. Stand aside. Tell Harper you are done with paperwork that steals my voice. 2. Stand down and stand up. Debt counseling at the community center. Tuesday night. I already put your name on the list. Job at the library. Mr. Bennett needs a returns clerk. You start with carts. We will not talk about your wife's plan in my house again. We will talk about you paying $100 a week until the number moves backwards. He tried to smile. It tripped. You're hiring me to push a cart? I'm offering you a spine, I said. You can borrow mine for the first week. On the counter, my phone buzzed. Mrs. Lee. I'll walk you to court if you want a friend. I sent back a heart, then looked at my son. Also, the locks are changed, I added, gentler than the sentence sounded. For both our sakes. As if on cue, the ring cam chimed. I cast it to the TV. Harper filled. Stamps matter. Eyes matter. The courthouse smelt like damp wool and old paper. In the corridor outside courtroom C, Harper stood with Dr. Cole and a woman in a tasteful suit I recognized as the kind of lawyer who calls fraud friction. Harper practiced concern in a reflection, tilt head, soften eyes, part lips on safety. Dr. Cole adjusted his tie and for a beat, touched the pen with the Golden Pines logo like it could bless him. I didn't stop. I didn't glare. I smiled, the way Jonah told me to, and walked past to where a process server leaned against the wall, pretending to read a vending machine. He tipped his envelope at me without looking, a magician palming a card. Jonah joined me, eyebrows up, mouth pleased. Ready? He asked. The bailiff opened the door. Case number 23GN4182, in Ray Mercer, he called, voice a bell. We stepped inside. Courtroom C eats theatrics for breakfast. Wood paneling, dull varnish, a clock that clicks whether you're ready or not. Judge Morales took the bench with the posture of a woman who grades verbs, not tears. Harper's lawyer started with a smile and a sigh. "This is a loving family seeking safety," she told the ceiling. "Ms. Mercer is confused, vulnerable, and resistant to support. We are asking for a temporary guardianship to prevent harm." Dr. Cole adjusted his tie and slid into the witness chair like it was a podcast he'd rehearsed.
"I conducted a brief cognitive screen,"
he said.
"Ms. Mercer displayed deficits, difficulty with serial sevens, word recall, and orientation."
His Golden Pines pen flashed each time he underlined a word with his voice. "Maya, no. This is a new ADA. DA Patel is watching. Jonah is our attorney." Jonah didn't stand yet. He let the story get comfy on the record. "Ms. Mercer," the judge said, looking straight at me. "State your full name, date of birth, and the case number on today." "These physicians have no affiliation with petitioners or Golden Pines." He set the letter on counsel table like a cup. "Exhibit 2, he said, and the courtroom speakers came alive with my living room. Ms. Vega's voice, calm as a metronome. "Capacity is contested here. I will not notarize under pressure." Then Harper, bright and fatal. "Once we move you into Golden Pines, we'll list the condo." Dr. Cole, "We already filed ex parte." The mobile notary's stamp never came down. The judge watched without blinking. The court reporter didn't look up. Her fingers already liked the sentence, "Once we move you in." "Exhibit 3, Jonah continued, and the porch audio played through the ring cam. Harper instructing Dr. Cole to emphasize disorientation and use the word safety. Judges love safety. Bored birdsong in the background. A neighbor coughing. The kind of ordinary soundtrack that makes lies smaller, not bigger. "Exhibit 4, Jonah said, and held up the pharmacy portal printouts. Petitioner's missed meds claim is a photograph of auto refills she toggled herself. Here is the audit trail. Auto refill enabled by authorized caregiver Harper Dawson. Here is Ms. Mercer's one-take video sorting her pill organizer, paying her bills, reading her case number and the lot number of her prescription into the camera. Context defeats performance." Harper's lawyer objected on tone. The judge overruled on appetite. "Exhibit 5, Jonah said, softer now. A small nail driven carefully. The email blown up on foam board like a science fair. "Welcome to Golden Pines," confetti. And the line that mattered, "Referral confirmed, fee payable upon admission." Addressed to Harper, CC'd to Dr. Cole, CC'd to me by someone in Counsel here, 2 independent physicians. Senior alerts at the bank. Eyes or hold flags at the hospital, and a neighbor who bakes when the world misbehaves. Jonah didn't smile. He saved it for the next thing. The judge tapped her pen. "One question," she said. "Mr. Reeves, you've hinted at a larger money structure. Where does Golden Pines money come from?" Jonah lifted a new folder, thinner and heavier at once. "Funny you should ask," he said. "May I approach with the ownership chain?" "Proceed," the judge said. The process server in the back straightened, hand settling on an envelope. Harper's face relaxed into confusion, which is what happens to confidence when the nouns change. Jonah carried the new folder like a fire extinguisher. "Source of funds," he said, stepping to the lectern. "Golden Pines is not a free agent. Its roof is paid by a master lease held by Atlas Senior Living Trust. Here is the chain. Golden Pines Operating LLC. Master lease #MP-117 with Atlas. And here, He lifted 2 sheets. Our bylaws, Section 8.4, Member Protective Action, and Ms. Mercer's Class B certificate, 22%. He didn't read the bylaw like poetry. He read it like a screwdriver. Upon credible allegations of elder exploitation by any Atlas-managed property, any member holding greater 20% of Class B may trigger an independent audit and suspend master lease disbursements to the implicated operator pending findings. He slid copies to the clerk and opposing counsel, then held up 2 stamped receipts like a magician producing doves. Notice of member protective action served 1:10 p.m. on Atlas's registered agent, served 1:18 p.m. on Golden Pines management. The judge glanced at the stamps, then at me. "Ms. Mercer, you signed this?" "I did," I said. Eyes open. From the back row, a man in a navy blazer consistent with the bank and hospital flags already in place. We ask the court to direct eyes or hold for any facility interaction involving Ms. Mercer. Harper's lawyer reached for indignation and found lint. "This is a family matter. This is a systems matter," the judge corrected, not unkind. She turned to me. "Ms. Mercer, do you wish to remain in your home?" "Yes," I said, "with my own keys." "Then here is the court's order," Judge Morales said, tapping her pen once. "The emergency petition for guardianship is denied. A stay issues on any further ex parte efforts. A protective order is entered. Petitioners Harper Dawson and Matthew Mercer are restrained from interfering with Ms. Mercer's housing, utilities, banking, or medical decisions absent her written consent or further order. Any facility, including Golden Pines, shall honor an eyes or hold rule. No photographic or family representative admissions. The Elder Exploitation Unit is authorized to issue subpoenas to Golden Pines, Dr. Cole, and Ms. Dawson for referral payments and communications. Dr. Cole is referred to the medical board for review. Court will retain jurisdiction." The gavel didn't bang. It didn't need to. The order hung in the air like weather. Harper's face drained from concern to calculation to something I recognized from my years behind a circulation desk. Some patrons don't hate rules. They hate being seen. Matt's shoulders sagged in a way that almost looked like relief before shame found him again. Dr. Cole touched the Golden Pines pen one last time, as if it might file a better ending. In the corridor, the navy blazer from Golden Pines had 2 phones to his ear and a third in his pocket, buzzing like a trapped bee. "Admissions. Freeze everything with Mercer in it," he hissed. "No, freeze all pending with family referrals until counsel reviews." He stopped mid-sentence when a second, who yesterday sold fragrance preferences, now recited eyes or hold like catechism. A guard rehearsed a sentence he never thought he'd need. "Ma'am, you can't stage an admission. Please step away from the gate." We walked out into a lobby that smelled like rain and paper and the end of a bad plan. Mrs. Lee waited on a bench with a thermos and a grin. Matt hovered, hollowed out, and finally said, "I'm sorry, Mom," which isn't a solution but is a starting noun. My phone buzzed once more. D.A. Patel. "Subpoena served. Interviews next week. Thank you for doing paper." I smiled, not to make anyone err, but because the habit fit. Behind us, Harper's voice rose and clipped itself, arguing with a voicemail that would not negotiate. Ahead of us, glass doors opened on a sidewalk where the air felt like something we'd bought with exact change. Golden Pines admissions pipeline didn't just hiccup. It froze. And when the money stops, people start telling the truth. The first call came the next morning from a number that used to sell fragrance preferences. Ms. Mercer, the Golden Pines manager said, voice carefully ironed. Per Atlas's notice, our admissions are on audit hold. We've also updated intake policy. No family representative photo admissions, no referral credits, and all consents must be spouse signed or court ordered. Eyes or hold. Good policy, I said. Shame it needed my name to learn it. By noon, D.A. Patel had filed charges that wear corners: fraud, forgery, and elder exploitation against Harper. False filings on Dr. Cole, with a neat referral to the medical board. A press release with no adjectives went out, subpoenas served, audit triggered. Community reminded that grief is not a legal strategy. The news crawl didn't use my name. It used my nouns. I liked that. The Navy blazer from court sent a letter full of "we take seriously." I filed it between recipes and ridiculous and didn't bother to underline anything. Matt came by with the haircut that meant business and the schedule from the community center. Debt counseling, Tuesday, 7 p.m. He had a time card from the library, too, Mr. Bennett's signature slanting across the bottom like mercy. First week, he said, rubbing his neck. I shelved half of mystery backwards. I fixed it. He looked me in the eye. I'm fixing it. That's a verb I fund, I said. We ate on the balcony among my stubborn herbs, and for once, neither of us filled the air with apologies for people who weren't in the room. 3 days later, I hung a wooden placard in the library's community room over 2 folding tables, a laminator, and a shredder that could eat a catalog. We do paper here, slowly, correctly, with kindness. We called it Senior Paper Clinic and printed a checklist that fit in a pocket. Freeze your credit, add bank alerts, eyes or hold, no mobile notaries at the door, don't sign under a timer. Mrs. Green brought cookies and a kazoo for comic relief. Nora led How to Say No Without an Essay. Mrs. Lee stamped a dozen real proxies and winked like a magician every time someone sighed in relief. I wrote my impact statement for the court without poetry. Redirect any restitution to the Senior Paper Clinic and the Legal Aid Fund. Don't cut me a check for pain. Buy tables, ink, laminator pouches, and 3 hours of a good notary's time every Thursday. Courts like budgets. So do libraries. Golden Pines sent a formal apology that didn't insult itself by asking for forgiveness. Dr. Cole's office went dark, pending review. Harper's arraignment was quiet. She pled not guilty with a lawyer who pronounces misunderstanding like a prayer. D.A. Patel will do the verbs. We served coffee and taught 3 grandfathers to freeze their credit in under 15 minutes. One of them said, I thought paper hated me. I told him paper is neutral. It learns its manners from the hands that hold it. As I left the library, Nora called after me, Authorization today? I patted my cardigan pocket where the pen lives. Just one, I said, smiling. The last authorization I grant is to myself.